Today I've got 5 cards for you. 1, a sport we've never talked about.
And I'm here to tell you which cards to buy, sell, or hold.
This is The Forecast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Forecast. I'm Amber Wilson. Happy to be back here hanging out with you guys on another Thursday. Now we're back for another week. That means another week of your suggestions. They have been rolling in over the last week. So today I have 5 cards for you. We span sports like we always do. You guys have a wide variety of sports and players that you want to hear about. And on today's show, I'm even going to do a little WNBA talk, which I haven't gotten to do yet. But before I jump into any of the players, cards, or sports that we're going to be talking about, I want to remind you guys, of course, that this episode of Sports Card Investor is brought to you by our friends at eBay, your number one spot for cards and collectibles. With the largest inventory of sports cards from basketball to soccer, and with buyers from all over the globe, eBay is the leading place to buy, sell, and invest your cards. All right, guys, so it is playoff time, and there is maybe no more iconic playoff performance in the last few years. One of the greatest playoff performances, I think, of all time. I think we could actually officially say that at this point. It happened earlier this week with Kevin Durant when he put the Nets on his back and he beat the Bucks in Game 5 of that series. So, Speedy J, he wants to know about KD, and let's talk about one of the greatest basketball players of this generation in Kevin Durant. Now, the Brooklyn Nets forward has been, of course, crushing it this postseason. He comes back from a catastrophic injury that some people thought was going to derail his career. He's able to play basketball this season. We didn't see him do it much this season. We saw the big 3 this season on that Brooklyn Nets team play 8 whole games together before the postseason began. And then, of course, James Harden is out with injury. We're still not seeing them play together. Now, James Harden comes back the other night, not very effective on Tuesday night in that Game 5, but Kevin Durant has a monster game, and that's all without Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie Irving has the catastrophic injury. He played 48 minutes in that game on Tuesday, and he gave you 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists, all sorts of history being made there. He broke all sorts of records. You're here, though, about his cards. So let's take a look at what has been happening here with Kevin Durant's cards this season. His 2017 Topps is a signature rookie. It has a black and white versions with the white coming from the factory set. That black version is a very tough grade, so you don't see many of those in high grades. Let's take a look at that 2007 Topps base factory set PSA 10. Now, there's almost 3,000 of these, and in terms of value, over the last 30 days, they're down about 35% in value. That's even though right now the Nets are up in that series with the Bucks, and even though Kevin Durant has been absolutely crushing it in these playoffs. His 2007 Topps Chrome base PSA 10, much lower pop on this card. That card is down 37% over the last 30 days. So, Geoff, what do we do here with Kevin Durant? He reminded us on Tuesday night that he is one of the greatest basketball players of our generation. He's easily a top 3 player in the NBA right now. And when he wants to make a case for himself to be the best player in the NBA, he can do just that. And with LeBron James at home, right now, watching these playoffs, there ain't much he can talk about or say about it, right? All he can do is sit there and watch and tweet about it, which is exactly what he did, as did everybody else across the NBA, because that was a historic performance. So, Geoff, with KD's cards, do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
It has been fun watching Kevin Durant in these playoffs. He has really just further cemented himself as one of the greatest NBA players, certainly of our generation. I mean, as his teammates Harden and Kyrie have been suffering from injuries, Durant has been carrying the Nets on his back, and watching him do what he did the other night against the Bucks was absolutely incredible. From a long-term hold standpoint, I am a buy on Kevin Durant. However, at the moment, I am right now just a hold. His cards have come down a little bit, but they've actually not come down as much as the basketball card market as a whole, because there's been some built-in anticipation into his card prices about a NBA title that could be forthcoming here in his future in the upcoming weeks. Last year, when LeBron won the NBA championship, his card prices held strong throughout the bubble, but then once he won that championship, his card prices actually dipped. And the reason for that was because a lot of NBA players' cards were falling last year during the bubble. LeBron was not one of them because people were anticipating that championship. I think we're in that same situation here with KD. His card prices, while dipping, have held a little bit stronger than some others because people are anticipating the championship. Once the championship actually happens, if it happens, he might see his cards drop. I would hold, wait until the off season, and then I think you might have a really nice buying opportunity for Kevin Durant for the long run.
Noel R. suggested to us AJ Brown, and there was a bunch of people who messaged me about AJ Brown. So I want to give everybody credit who's been throwing out AJ Brown. And I think the interest in the Titans wide receiver comes after, of course, that Julio Jones trade, where Julio Jones, he gets traded from the Falcons to the Titans. We talked about Julio Jones. We haven't talked about AJ Brown recently and what this means for AJ Brown. And from a football perspective, I can tell you that I think that the acquisition of Julio Jones very much helps AJ Brown, because now defenses are going to have to key in on Julio Jones. Maybe the best corners are going to be on Jones now and not necessarily on AJ Brown. And then, of course, both of those guys have a lot of help in the backfield from Derrick Henry. So that is a good Tennessee Titans team. We're talking about a championship contending Tennessee Titans team, I think, with the acquisition of Julio Jones. And we know AJ Brown really wanted Julio on his team. He was recruiting him, so to speak, on Twitter before the Titans did trade for AJ Brown. So let's talk about what's happening here with AJ Brown's cards and his value. Now, his 2019 Optic Base PSA 10, a low pop on this card, but it is up 146% in value over the last year. Taking a look at AJ Brown's 2019 Prism Base PSA 10, there's a few more of these in population, still less than 400 though. That card is up 317% over the same time period over the last year. So lots of attention in the hobby has turned to AJ Brown over the last 365 days. I would imagine that the team he plays on is going to continue to be much improved this season with Julio Jones. And like I said, I think Jones being on that field helps AJ Brown and might mean a big season from him. So Geoff, what do we do here with AJ Brown's cards? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
The Titans offense is exciting. I mean, they definitely upgraded by getting Julio Jones. It will be fun to see what they can do next year. AJ Brown, sure, he's probably going to benefit from Julio Jones being there. Is he a great enough receiver? Is he going to benefit enough to rush out and buy a bunch of his cards right now? I don't know. I'm not feeling super strongly about that. Who I do feel more strongly about on the Titans is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has been an absolute stud, one of the best running backs we have seen in many, many, many years, and has been able to stay relatively injury-free, which is different than most running backs. But here's what I like most about Henry. This season, there are 17 NFL games, an extra NFL game. Henry has a legitimate chance of breaking the all-time rushing record this season. He would have done it last year if he had had one extra game. If that happens, that's absolutely going to help his card prices. So I know you asked me about AJ Brown, but I'm not going to give you an AJ Brown pick. I'm instead going to go say, invest that money in Derrick Henry.
Ruth V wants to hear about DK Metcalf. So let's talk about that monster on the Seattle Seahawks. That is a built dude. Let's just put it that way. And the Seahawks wide receiver, of course, is known for that. He's known for his build. He's known for his strength. He's known for his speed as well. He followed up a very strong rookie season with a monster sophomore season. He got 83 passes, over 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns in 2020. Has had highly liquid cards over the last year. So let's take a look at them. His Prism Base PSA 10. Now, The Prism-based PSA 10 sold 235 times. That's according, of course, to our market movers over the last year with a pop of just 545. So these cards move. His Optic base PSA 10 had 38 sales over the same time period with a population of 72. Lots of movement here on DK Metcalf's card. Let's take a look at the charts. His 2019 Prism base PSA 10. That card is up 133% in value over the last year. And looking at his 2019 Optic base PSA 10, that card's up 111% in value over the last year. So people in the hobby are excited about DK Metcalf. Seattle fans are excited about DK Metcalf. Football fans generally are excited about this dude's presence in the NFL. Geoff, what do we do with DK Metcalf? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
So unlike AJ Brown, DK Metcalf's cards have actually been dipping in price over the last couple of months. They've had a nice run over the last year, but over the last couple of months, they've been dipping in price, as has much of the football card market. We've seen a number of football cards dip in price over the last couple of months. I actually think we're getting into a pretty good buying window here with football cards before the season starts to get going in preseason and all of that, which is about a month and a half away from now. So DK Metcalf, hey, he's an exceptional young receiver. Seattle's going to be a relevant team as long as Russell Wilson remains there and remains happy, which at the moment, I guess they're back to everything being good again. So Metcalf is a physical freak of nature, and people like those physical freak of nature receivers. So I would generally say buy DK Metcalf. Although I will also tell you this weekend on our Market Movers YouTube channel this Saturday, Teapot, Tyler Nethercott from our team, is doing a whole video analyzing wide receivers, and he sees some better buying opportunities with some of the all-time great wide receivers. So check out the Market Movers YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that right now if you haven't already. Search for Market Movers on YouTube and subscribe to that channel because I think there's some real buying opportunities with some other receivers as well. But right now, I'll just say generally, I'm a buy with DK Metcalf.
All right, let's change our attention to the world sports. Let's talk some football, or soccer, if you will. Omar C., he wants to hear about Lionel Messi. So let's talk about one of the greatest soccer players to ever live. Now, soccer generally is currently trending down as a whole in the hobby, but many anticipate a surge to come here in soccer again before the 2022 World Cup. So that might affect the market quite dramatically when we're talking about what to invest in and what not to invest in. That would likely be Messi's final World Cup appearance. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, there's all these rumors that he's going to spend a couple of years in America, maybe in Miami down here. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but we will see. However, of course, people expect that that's probably the end of the road for him in the World Cup, so that might mean a big surge, I would imagine, in Messi's cards. We'll hear more from Geoff here in a minute of what we should do with Lionel Messi. Now, Messi's 2004 rookie lineup is incredibly expensive. His 2004 Mega Cracks base PSA 10 is averaging around $28,000. Now, Messi's ultra-modern stuff has become super popular because of cost of entry on his rookie. So let's take a look here at his 2004 Panini Mega Cracks base PSA 10. A low population on this card. The worth of this card, though, has skyrocketed. It is up 713% over the last year. A monster increase in value. However, if we look at his 2014 Prism World Cup base PSA 10, this one with a higher pop, this one reflects more what's been happening generally with soccer in the hobby. That card is down about 11% over the last 365 days. Nothing crazy, but two cards, of course, trending opposite directions over the last year. So, Geoff, what do we do here with Lionel Messi? Buy, sell, or hold?
Lionel Messi, obviously one of the GOATs of soccer, and if you're into buying and holding the GOAT cards for a long time, you can't go wrong, in my opinion, buying Messi's cards, and I think that they're a good buy. Soccer cards have come down a fair amount. I am excited to see what the soccer card market will do next year with the World Cup. I think the soccer card market's going to be really, really hot, and this could be Messi's last World Cup next year. I think it's going to get a lot of attention worldwide, especially in the United States, because the U.S. men's national team is legit. And so as a result of that, I think the World Cup is going to get more attention next year than it has gotten in recent years, not to mention the popularity of soccer has been growing anyway. So I am very bullish on soccer cards. I think Messi, good opportunity to buy.
So let's talk about something that we've never talked about on this show, a sport that we have not yet talked about. Let's give some love to the Lady Hoopers. Sabrina Ionescu. Now, I am so sorry to not be able to credit the person who wrote me. I feel so bad. I got a really nice message from somebody and they suggested WNBA because of the rising popularity of WNBA, and ESPN, of course, has made a big push for WNBA, and WNBA coverage and WNBA ratings have been up across the board. So WNBA was a really, really good suggestion. I told that person I'd pass it along, and I feel so bad. I am so sorry that I did not write down your name. I have gotten so many messages over the last 5 days, over the last week, because I announced that I am leaving my local show in Miami, my local sports radio show. And because of that, I've gotten so many messages that I can't even keep up with them or go through them all anymore. So I misplaced the name of this person. I'm very, very sorry. You know who you are, and I really appreciate you watching, and I appreciate your suggestions. And remember, guys and gals, to keep suggesting. We really appreciate all of your suggestions right here on the YouTube channel. You can comment right here, or you can message me directly on social media platforms. I'll try to get better about writing down names. Amber W790 on Instagram and on Twitter. And you can hit me up and let me know who you want to hear about on next week's episode of The Forecast. So I really appreciate it. I'm leaving my local radio show in Miami, but I'll still be doing ESPN radio nationally, which right now I do on the weekends. So enough about me. Let's talk about somebody who is a lot better at her job than I am at mine. Sabrina Ionescu. She's awesome. She, of course, was the #1 overall pick in 2020 by the New York Liberty, was a megastar when she played college ball at Oregon. Now, WNBA cards have been gaining popularity along with the WNBA as a whole. So that's why I wanted to throw in a WNBA player here. The clear favorite in the hobby is the ultra modern WNBA cards. Now, Sabrina Ionescu played just 3 games in her rookie season because of a grade 3 ankle sprain. Currently, she's missing some time due to that same ankle acting up. It's unclear how much time she's going to miss overall. She's played extremely well when she has been out there on the court and hasn't been injured. She averages 14 points, 6 boards, 7 assists per game this season. She's shooting 42% from 3. So let's take a look at what's happened here with her card. Now, her 2020 Prism WNBA base PSA 10. That card is down 27% over the last 30 days, and given, again, injury, she's been dealing with that, but it's up 96% in value if you look at it for the last 365 days. So, Geoff, I really think here the direction of the WNBA generally is a really interesting one, because over the last 2 years, the WNBA has actually genuinely made great strides in popularity. And of course, the major networks have also been feeding on that and pushing even more coverage of the WNBA. I would imagine that that's a sport that is going to continue to rise in popularity. So, Geoff, what do we do here with Sabrina's cards? Do we buy, do we sell, or do we hold?
Look, guys, I am not going to sit here and give you a buy-sell pick. I'm sorry, I cannot give you a buy-sell pick on Ionescu because I don't watch the WNBA. I don't know a whole lot about her game. I've seen the highlights. I've seen her on SportsCenter. I know she's an amazing, transformative women's basketball player. I think it's great that WNBA cards have been gaining in popularity, which they have. They've been gaining in popularity. I think that's great. I think it's great to have a diversification of the type of cards. I also think WNBA cards can attract different types of collectors into the market. Maybe we get more female collectors coming into the sports card hobby. I think that's an excellent, excellent thing as well. So I am all about supporting Ionescu and all the WNBA stars and giving more coverage to WNBA cards. But personally, I'm not an expert. I cannot tell you what to do on this one, so I'm going to leave you to your own devices to figure out your buy, hold, or sell strategy on UNESCO.
All right, guys. So there you have it. A sport we've never done before, plus a whole bunch of other sports and other players. And we cover just about everything from soccer to football to basketball. That's what we like to do. We love to give you a variety here on the forecast, so nothing is off limits. Let us know whose card you want to hear about right below this video on the YouTube channel. Or again, you can hit me up on my social media at AmberW790. You can hear me this weekend on ESPN Radio. I'm on Sunday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. alongside Peter Burns this weekend. I'll start letting you guys know when I'm on air nationally because you can tune in anywhere in the country. Sirius XM Channel 80, the ESPN app, all that good stuff. And of course, I'll be back here again on Sports Card Investor next week for the forecast on Thursday. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell icon. I'll see you guys next week. Happy investing.